representative. He's currently tied 1-1 with Vortix, your blue Zerg player in the bottom left-hand location. Of course, to get to this point, Vortix was able to take out his brother, Lucifron, 3-2, and Creator able to 3-0 Illusion in the round of 16.
Both players proving that they're a match for each other so far in the series. Vortix taking game one with some a great, well, really close defense. I was actually worried when he tried to hold the fourth and failed. I thought Creator might have had it with that push, but those Broodlords came in just in the nick of time there. Vortix able to close that one out, but then Creator striking back with a beautiful hold against Vortex's two-base Ro8.
That was a great hold.
Zerginol. It really was.
I wish I could do that.
The force fields were saved and placed at just the right moments. The probes were utilized just the right amount. You know, it's easy to either just attack with the probes and overextend with them, but he always kept them back to where only some of the Zerg units could engage them, but just barely forward enough to protect the Mortal and protect the Sentries, those units that, of course, you can't afford to lose when there's Roaches and Zerglings in the mix. So Vortix failing a little bit with that build. I wonder if he planned from the start to do that build on Antigua, knowing that, first of all, Creator is so good at these three-base timings or even two-base timings. Those are very popular on Antigua, so he didn't want to have to deal.
It's really hard to take a fourth base as a Zerg player, I feel, on Antigua. So I feel like that would play into Vortex's mindset as far as, all right, let's get this game done early.
We saw, you know, he really liked to take that fourth fast on Ohana. And Antigua's a map where the kind of the Zerg style is either aggressively try to deny the Protoss' third, or you turtle and you tech very fast the Broodlords off three bases, you know. So it doesn't seem like that's Vortex's favorite way to play, and Antigua also actually is one of the better maps to do those two-base Roach builds. If we're going to pick a map to do it, why not Antigua? But Creator,
a very high chance of success.
It did, and it was really close.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, if maybe if one force field that one more Roach in at a certain point, or I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe the micro on both sides is very tense there. Could have gone either way. Creator again with that, you know, Nexus first Forge opening. Vortix actually getting 6 Zerglings early. So he wants to maybe threaten to run by, force Creator to wall that in. Of course, Creator is more than capable of filling in that wall. But as long as Vortix runs straight to him, which he is, he's ignoring that probe. He's going to have 2 more Zerglings run down that probe with a first 4 try for run by. Creator is going to have to fill in that wall. You know, it costs the Protoss a little bit of something to get those extra Zerglings. Yeah,
and of course it costs the Zergs a little bit of something as well. That's drones that you're actually neglecting. But here comes Vortix with those Zerglings, going to target down that pylon. Cannon is not yet done, but Creator shouldn't have to cancel it, but actually going to cancel it because the cannon is done and the Zerglings no longer a threat to run by. So nothing too crazy going on at this point. Probe getting taken out there by Vortix. Nice little pickoff. Whenever you can take down that probe, it's a nice feeling because that means you can just position this Overlord and just watch for any of the probes that decide to leave, and then you can just immediately tag on a Zergling to it. So Vortix is going to be very comfortable at this point in the game, probably going to leave a Zergling at his opponent's third base, and maybe use the rest to take watchtowers and potentially take it on rocks if he feels like it.
Does not look like Vortix is going for that Roach-based attack again this time, saying, you know what, that didn't work out so well for me. Cloud Kingdom is a map where it's not too hard to take and hold a fourth. A lot of harassment attempts can go on, you know, behind the middle line of that fourth, but as far as holding the Nexus itself, Spine Cores do that fairly well. Creator, not revealing his tech quite yet. The Side Core just finishes. Not enough resources to get that robotics quite yet. We're going to see, is he going to go for robotics like he did in Game 2 very quickly, or is he going to go for that +1 weapons and 3rd and 4th gas like we saw in Game 1?
Cloud Kingdom is a map where, you know, 2-base timing pushes can be very good. There's a lot of choke points that, you know, once you get down them or once you're on top of them, one force field will kind of isolate the Zerg army. And then we see a Stargate going down here from Creator, an interesting choice. But, you know, I haven't seen we haven't seen this series thus far. And, of course, you know, there's a couple things you can do. I feel like Creator's probably going to go for a Void Ray. Stylistically, we've seen that lately from Protoss, is getting a couple Void Rays, trying to potentially, you know, deny your Zerg opponent's third, maybe tying the Void Rays into some sort of timing push, and of course the Void Ray is instrumental, very nice in being able to comfortably take a third, because you know, what Zerg is going to go an all-in Ling Roach type play if you have a Void Ray in the air?
It definitely helps a ton against those Roaches. There goes the Void Ray in production right now, Chrono boosted. He's looking to put on some pressure with that. Vortix with the Roach Horn at 7 minutes. This shows that he's a little bit afraid of early Zealot Crash, which is interesting. I guess he hasn't really scouted this point yet. I mean, he knows there's one gas at a natural, so he wants to cover his bases. He's also getting speed first before there, so he's definitely worried about early aggression. Most Zergs, if they know exactly what's going on, they would get the the lair first, except against some mass gateway type pressure. But it looks like Creator's following that Stargate up with 3 more gateways and a +1. So we could see some early gateway pressure following up those air units. And in that case, that speed upgrade as well as roaches are going to be very, very, very useful. Void Ray is revealed after killing that Overlord.
Yeah, the Overlord dying incredibly fast, and now Vortix is forced to react. Evolution Chamber just now started, so not going to have spores for a little bit. Immediately adding on a Queen in his natural expansion. Of course, the layer is underway at this point in time. So the good news is Vortix knows exactly what his opponent is doing. The bad news potentially for him is that Creator is going to take a very early third base here, and I don't think Vortix will really have an ability to prevent that from getting up and running. But he is making a lot of lings in that production tab, so we'll have to see what he can make happen with those.
Spore crawlers being produced. Creator following more and more Phoenixes. A fairly quick third base. A lot of Protosses delay that third when they go Stargate to make sure they can protect it against surging Roach aggression. But Creator says, you know what, I have the Void Ray out. I've got him on the back foot with this air. I feel comfortable taking a third right now, but Vortix, he's moving out. Creator, he's got 3 sentries, 4 zealots. I think he should be okay, but it's going to be a little bit tense here.
The force fields have to be pretty much perfect here from Creator. Of course, it is Creator, so usually he doesn't miss them. But look at this, Ling's actually getting up close and personal. Creator hastily throwing down those force fields, but the sentries are still alive. The zealot's doing a lot of damage, and Creator saying, no big deal, bro. I got it, and going to fend those off. Of course, he did have to expend 4 sentries. He does have the gas, though, to potentially add on a couple more fairly soon if he decides to do that. But it looks like Vortix is going to return home, adding on 8 drones, adding on an infestation pit, and Creator should be able to identify this fact and should feel comfortable teching up and continuing with upgrades.
He does feel comfortable teching. We can see with that support bay being thrown down, Blink being researched, +2 is probably sure to follow. Vortex getting those infestors, and you know what? I think that was a great trade for Creator there. I mean,
absolutely
4 force fields, and I think he lost 1, maybe 2 zealots, but he killed, was it 20 speedings? Some large number of speedings there with that single engagement, and that's a nice win. I mean, it's not a game-breaking win by any means, but getting those speedings off the map.
And keeping your third safe.
Exactly.
Not losing sentries.
Definitely not losing sentries. Very, very, very big, because those... to rebuild them, which you would have to do if you lost them, cost gas. And when you're trying to tech upgrades, Blink, Colossi, and you're on 4 gas, 5th, 6th on the way, you can't really afford to rebuild the sentries without delaying some of the other critically important tech. Vortex, gas important to him as well, starting at 4th base. We're sure to see the 7th and 8th gas. Actually, he's already got the wireframes up, doesn't want to miss a beat. Getting those even before the hatchery completes, just wants to be really, really on top of that gas as the infestors are coming out now. Is he going to attack Hive again at 12 minutes, just like we saw in Game 1, or is he going to play, a more layer-heavy centric build?
I mean, he is prioritizing those upgrades on those Evo chambers right now, the melee and the carapace. So, and he's adding on, yeah, there's a hatchery at the 4th. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him go for the faster Hive, but again, the trickiest part of that is ensuring you're safe. And the fact that Creator got such an early third base, and he's able to really get that tech up and running, if he tries to go for a faster Hive and faster Ruthlers, I feel like he could be vulnerable to a potential timing from a 3-base Econ Creator. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, score update, Parting versus Suppy is now tied 2-2.
Parting striking back strong against the American Zerg Suppy. Suppy with an early lead in that series, 2-0. Parting evening it up. Meanwhile, back in this game, we're tied 1-1. Vortex again going for Hive slightly later, starting that tech at about the 12:30 mark. Spire being constructed. Upgrades and plenty of spine cars, but you know what? Creator is going to have plenty of costs down the field. I'm not sure how effective these spine cars are going to be in this game. Another interesting twist is that Creator is not going for that 3 attack timing, instead getting +1 armor. Perhaps just the way he's been spending gas this game has lined up where he doesn't quite have that 200, but once said to do 0 forge time, so opting for that armor upgrade instead. Oh, some sneaky pylons across the right side of the map. That's going to be great to warp in and harass from that angle while his main army pushes across on the left side. We saw him do a similar tactic with the warp prism on Ohana. Of course, he didn't end up using it, but the option was there. This game, of course, his robotics was later because he opened Stargate, and so he doesn't want to miss any robotics production time, opting for the pylons instead of the warp prism.
Yeah, I'm interested when he's actually going to decide to push out. May wait for that +1 armor. Actually getting another Immortal on the field, and he's queuing up the War Prism behind it, so it looks like the push is going to be delayed a little bit. Of course, he has time. He has the Observer. Oh, no, he has a Phoenix watching over the Hive and the Spire, so knows the potential timing for those Broodlords. And now it's up to Vortix to kind of identify, okay, how much is my opponent investing into Colossus? Because if he ends up making too many Corruptors, then all of a sudden he's not going to have anything to deal with a massive ground army that Creators is starting to accumulate. Of course, adding on that Immortal instead of a Colossus kind of means that Creators kind of going for that a little bit. He doesn't really mind losing those Colossus as long as he can reinforce with the ridiculous ground army.
Pushing out now, nearing max with 190 supply. Vortex is max, but his Corruptors aren't quite on the field yet in production. He's got to get those out because right now he has no way to deal with those 3 Colossi. The Corruptors are just starting to pop up now. Mining being denied at the 4th, but like we said, it's not too hard to defend this 4th. Creator is not going to try to go down that ramp into Spine Park.
Oh, nice little blink forward with the Stalkers there, taking out 2 Infestors very fast, targeting down another one. Infested Terrans being thrown down here by Vortex, but Colossus doing so much damage from above. Only 5 Corruptors here from Vortex. Stalkers blinking back. Great force fields there from Creator as well, and again, reinforcing with nothing but Stalkers at this point, so in the long run, not necessarily worried about losing these Colossi. Meanwhile, I don't think Vortex has even started his Greater Spire, focusing all of his resources on defending this push.
He's trying to hold it with the best of his abilities, but the Corruptors are down. There's still a Colossi as well as Arians on the field.
Oh.
The Infestors are out of energy. More Zerg is in production, but Creator's army is still gigantic, and Vortex is running out of units here.
Great timing here from Creator. So many Stalkers on the field. This is kind of deja vu from game number 1. Vortex trying to mix in the Overlords to help out, but there's the GG from Vortex and Creator, able to take game number 3. What a fantastic game there from Creator. I mean, of course, I think that all started with securing that 3rd base so fast. Of course,